Hi everyone. I made a video a while back about deburring, and there were a lot of people in the comments who said they would totally watch a video all about files. Like at least 10 people. What a bunch of weirdos. Anyway, here's that video in all its glory. So grab your favorite bastard by the handle, break the edges on that subscribe button, and let's get started. Safety first. Never, ever use a file without a handle. Not by hand, and especially not against a part running in the lathe. That is a fantastic way to get stabbed by the tang. If the file catches on the part or hits something solid like a running chuck jaw, it can poke right through your still moving hand or wrist, or get launched back at you by that rotating chuck. Take a moment to imagine yourself in that scenario. Once you have that picture firmly in your mind, think about it every single time you reach for a file without a handle. When filing on the lathe, I hold the handle in my left hand and the end of the file in my right. This gives me control of the file while also keeping my knuckles away from the chuck jaws. As I mentioned in my deburring video, files cut on the push stroke, so sawing back and forth with the file isn't making it cut any faster. Conventional wisdom says that you actually dull the file by dragging it backwards. Jason over at Fireball Tool made a video series where he tested that out, using his shaper to do all the hard work for him. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen the videos, but I'll put a link to them down in the description. They're definitely worth a watch. I will say, when you're filing into a piece and need to make an accurate cut, making a drag cut first with the corner of the file can help get the file started without having it skate all over the part. This is similar to starting a cut with a hacksaw. When breaking the edges on a part, I try to cut at an angle to the teeth for a smoother finish. Otherwise, the corner of the part locks into the teeth and chatters. It's not always possible to avoid this, especially on shorter edges, or when you're using the side of the teeth to cut. That's why it's nice to have a selection of different file sizes on hand. Needle files are ideal for these small edges and are also less likely to round over corners and chatter. There are a bewildering array of styles, cuts, and shapes of files. I'm not going to be able to cover all of them without this video just descending into a stream of mind-numbing details. So I'll just cover the basics. The given length of a file is the length without the tang, and the type of file is usually stamped down here by the tang. The most common type by far, at least here in the United States, is the mill bastard file, which refers to the shape and tooth coarseness. This is the kind of file that you can get at any hardware store or home center. It's called a bastard cut because it's in between a coarse cut and a second cut. Cut coarseness runs from rasps on the rough end to extra smooth on the fine end, with many steps in between. And generally, smaller files will have finer teeth, even if both files are the same type of cut. These are all bastard cut files, but you can hopefully see, anyway, that the teeth on this 6-inch file are quite a bit finer than the ones on this 12-inch file. I'm pretty sure I've said bastard enough in this video to get demonetized, so I might as well say bastard one more time just for giggles. Maybe head on over to Patreon and help support the channel to try to make up for it. Single cut means it has one set of teeth, and of course double cut means it has two. There are some other specialty patterns out there as well, and one of my favorite specialty files is the long angle lathe file, which, as you can see, has a much steeper angle to the teeth for more of a shearing cut. However, this is still a B-word file. In your adventures, you'll probably see files and literature marked as American pattern or Swiss pattern. American pattern refers to everything that I've already been talking about so far, although generally I only ever see double cut files marked as American pattern. Swiss pattern files, on the other hand, are generally finer than the American pattern and come in 7 different cuts that are numbered from 00 to 6, with 6 being the finest. To give you an idea, this one is marked as an 0 or 0, and it's about the same as the exact same size bastard cut file. As far as shapes go, you can get files in almost any shape you can imagine. rectangular, triangular, square, round, half round, knife edge, oval. Seriously, there are a lot of different shapes. You can get a really good idea of all the shapes when you look at a set of needle files, which, as I mentioned in my deburring video, are a must-have item for any machinist for getting into all those tight spaces for deburring things. I also want to talk about riffler files, which are short files available in a bunch of different shapes as well. These are used extensively in die work and are very handy to have, although they are quite expensive. On most files, there are also teeth on the sides, although I very rarely use these. They tend to bind on edges because they're relatively coarse and they're cut straight across the face. In fact, I'm a really big fan of grinding the teeth off of one side of the file to make a safe edge. This keeps the file from digging in on the side while you're deburring and spoiling the part. You can buy files with safe edges, of course, but they tend to be more expensive, and as I've said before, I'm a cheap bastard. So for me, it's worth it to buy a normal file and spend a few minutes at the belt sander removing those teeth. I actually have quite a few safe edge files in different shapes for various occasions. I keep some of my files labeled by what material I cut with them. This may seem silly, but I don't want to cross-contaminate my metals. Steel filings can easily get embedded in softer metals and cause deep scratches and issues when polishing. Aluminum, meanwhile, tends to load up files excessively, and the chips really stick in the teeth of the file. Aluminum also doesn't play very well with brass, so I don't want to mix those two. Jewelers do this all the time because they recycle their filings and they get less for their scrap when gold is mixed with silver or base metals. Is it strictly necessary for the average Joe or Josephine? No, of course not. But I work with a lot of brass, steel, and aluminum, and it makes my life easier to keep them separated. By the way, I don't go so far as to separate the files by alloys. I'll use my brass files for any copper-based alloys, brass, bronze, nickel, silver, etc. Likewise, my steel file cuts any steel and stainless alloys. For the most part, the files are all the same. I have mill bastard files for each metal. Although I do have some files that are specifically made for aluminum. These have coarser, slightly curved teeth and seem to be a bit sharper than usual files. To clean your files, the tool you need is called a file card. These are available with and without this soft brush. Make sure you get this kind with the brush. I always use the brush first to remove most of the chips, then the steel card side if you have really stubborn chips. The card can dull the teeth of the file, so use it sparingly. If you brush out the file often, you won't get chips stuck in the teeth. If I'm trying to get a really fine finish before polishing with emery cloth, I'll brush out the teeth every few strokes. Otherwise, the filings will start to roll around between the file and the part and cause really deep scratches that are very difficult to sand out. Let's talk about file storage. Don't just lay your files in a drawer where they can rub against each other. All that's going to do is lead to dull files. I have mine hanging from pegboard hooks just like these. Of course, there are plenty of homebrew solutions for file storage. I've seen racks made out of angle iron with slots cut into them, similar to this, wooden trays with slots for individual files, 3D printed drawer dividers, you name it. The world is your oyster, and the only thing holding you back is your imagination. If you have any questions or topics you want me to cover in a future video, leave those down in the comments section below. Hit the like and subscribe button if you think I've earned it, follow me on Instagram at StuartDeHaro, and please consider supporting my channel on Patreon like these awesome folks right here. You might also want to check out these other videos. On the right is my playlist of cutting tool videos just like this one. I have my most recent video in the top left, and in the bottom left there's a video YouTube thinks you'll like as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.